Warhammer 40k has had an amazing 2024 so far. From the release of Space Marine 2, all the way to the secret level episode that they had on Amazon, to the newly announced cinematic universe with Henry Cavill in a star role. All while he is also a producer on the shows slated to release. Warhammer 40k fans have been eating good this year. Today, we'll be covering an overview of the latest and greatest patch for Space Marine 2, along with details on the new shows coming out on Amazon's streaming service. So, if any of that sounds interesting to you, make sure to stick around and let's get right into it. First things first, let's talk about the latest patch for Space Marine 2. Today is the day of the next major content update called the Obelisk update. This update is named after the PvE level introduced to the update that takes place parallel to the final moments of the main campaign. This PvE level contains the Obelisk operation mission itself and introduces a new enemy for the Chaos faction called the Tzangoor Enlightened, which is a new Majoris enemy that looks like they have an insanely cool and unique moveset that have the possibility of showing up during any and all operations now with Chaos in them. Along with this, we finally are going to be getting our hands on the Dark Angels cosmetics and faction attributes that will let us customize our Space Marines further and in more ways that we as fans have waited for a while. Finally, to cap off the update, they enhanced the game a lot of ways performance-wise for both PC and consoles, and have squashed some lingering bugs here and there, which the full list can be found on their official patch notes on their Focus Together forums. Along with this update, the game is currently on a good 20% off sale, so if you've been waiting for more content before diving into the game, want to pick up a copy for yourself or a friend, or just don't like paying full price for games, there has been almost no better time to pick up this game. Seeing on what's still to come for the game, off of the roadmap they provided before the launch of the game, 2025 is still going to have great content for Space Marine 2. In Season 3, we will still be getting a new PvE mission, a new PvP game mode and maps to follow, a new enemy being introduced, a prestige system for the PvE in the game, and the Battle Barge expansion. Not to mention another faction content pack that is bound to bring more skins, armor pieces, and further customization from another faction yet to be announced. Then we have what is, in my opinion, the most hype season, being Season 4, where we are getting a new weapon, a new enemy, new faction content, and finally, the new horde mode being introduced into the game, which the game director himself has teased will work a bit differently than traditional horde modes in modern games. So hopefully that lives up to my expectations that I personally have for the game mode. That about wraps up the major patch for Space Marine 2, so now let's move on to the newly confirmed Warhammer 40k cinematic universe. For those of you that haven't heard, Games Workshop and Amazon have finalized a deal for Henry Cavill's vision on a Warhammer 40k cinematic universe. Games Workshop and Amazon had set a deadline of a year to come to terms and agree on creative guidelines for television and movie adaptations for the series that are set to be developed by Amazon. And at the very end of the timeline they gave themselves, they finally came to terms and agreed on everything they needed to in order to continue this partnership, which in turn now starts the cinematic universe off. The current set name for the production of the various adaptations is called Amazon Studios' Warhammer Stories. Allegedly, one of the reasons that this took a year is because within that year, they were looking over the massive amounts of characters, settings, and stories told within the Warhammer 40k universe, and were deciding on their starting points and what characters and stories would be adapted into the cinematic universe to start. With all of that being said and done, today basically marks the day that the first project that they decided on is officially being worked on, and with no script even being close to being written, it could be some years before we actually ever see the cinematic universe actually kick off. Along with this, in an official capacity, Henry Cavill, who has been very vocal and shown that he is passionate not only about this franchise, but the lore and its characters as well, was also involved with these talks and is set to star and also produce the Warhammer 40k adaptations across all Amazon Studio productions. To commemorate getting this through and greenlit, on Instagram, he celebrated and announced this in a post that reads as follows: My incredible team and I, alongside the brilliant minds at Games Workshop, have been working away in concept rooms, breaking down approaches to the enormity and magnificence of the Warhammer world. Together, we've been sifting through the plethora of incredible characters and poring over old tomes and texts. Our combined efforts have led us to a fantastic place to start our universe, which has been agreed upon by those up on high at both Amazon and Games Workshop. That starting place shall for now remain a secret. Watch this space though, more to come in time. Overall, this sounds amazing to me. We already know Games Workshop are very meticulous when it comes to their IP and hitting every nail on the head when it comes to accuracy. We even got reports before of Space Marine 2 having to change around armor aspects because the ankle portion and boots of the armor didn't align with what Games Workshop has done with their art and miniatures. So if they're going to be that in tune with discrepancies over their game, you can bet that they're going to do that for their TV shows and movies alike. Along with this, we know that Henry Cavill is essentially just another one of the boys when it comes to being a huge fan of the franchise. And in almost every project he's been in, whether it be gaming or comic book adaptations in his career, he has for the most part always been vocal about having things be in line with directions fans expect those series to go. And he has let it be known publicly, whether it be subtle or more vocal, whether he is disgruntled with the decision that they take or not. So I believe he is a near perfect fit and essentially a voice for the fans on all of these projects going forward. With the production assistance from the team over at Amazon, and if they surround themselves with teams of great people to hop on their visions of the cinematic universe moving forward, I think we can see some fantastic stories, action, and content coming to Amazon hopefully sooner rather than later. When it comes to a timeline, I believe we will actually be able to see something come out of this. If there are minimal bumps in the road and things go smoothly, I would expect their first show to come out sometime in 2027, if not 2028, depending if it's live action or an animated adaptation. Once they unveil what story they will start their universe in, and whether or not it will be live action or not, we will be able to make more educated guesses on a timeline of release at that point. As a whole though, this is extremely exciting news for anyone that's a fan of the Warhammer 40k series, as you'll be getting official content coming in the form of shows and movies with the creators, mega fans like Henry Cavill, and piles of money being poured into it from Amazon, which will all go towards making awesome adaptations for the franchise. Let me know what you guys think about the new major update in Space Marine 2, the new cinematic universe that's being started for the franchise, and if you're excited to see Henry Cavill tied to it all in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed or found it entertaining, make sure to scroll down and make that like button glow so we can reach our like goal of 25 likes for this video. While you're down there, consider subscribing as we'll be covering Space Marine 2 as updates come out, other AAA games throughout the year, hilarious content, and more. As always, your support through your viewership, liking, and subscribing is always greatly appreciated and helps me out tremendously against the tyrannid threat that is the YouTube algorithm. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to catch you guys next time. Peace!